是，在中国现在不比较少。
我就想到我的孩子，他的以后的出路是好的，是轻省的，不要像我这么累。
跟着我这边啊，跟着我灯光。
不管问题是什么目标，达成生命是的。
跟想象的不一样，有点脏，像没有走出中国一样。
I discovered that our reusable water bottles harbor bacteria and even mold. 6 out of the 10 bottles we tested had total bacteria and mold scores of between 70 to nearly 100,000. Anything above 55,000 is considered elevated numbers, which can be potentially dangerous. Are we not washing our bottles enough? I did a call out on Instagram asking you how often you clean your bottles. And I wonder if I'm even cleaning it the right way. We got more than 1,100 responses. Only 52% say you wash your bottles daily. 19% say you wash it 2 to 3 times a week. Almost a similar number, 18% say just once a week. And 11% say only once a month. Does how often you wash your bottle really matter? We're revealing the results of our lab tests.
I wash it every day with water and then every other day with soap. I dismantle my bottle and then use soap and sponge and clean every part of the bottle, especially the mouth area.
So our test actually shows that your water bottle has the lowest levels of bacteria and mold. It's among the cleanest.
Oh yeah. That's great.
Your bottle had relatively high levels of bacteria compared to the others, and mold was also present in it.
Mold. I'm surprised that there's a high level of bacteria and mold because I rinse it every day and then I clean it thoroughly once a week. I'm wondering where the mold would come from. Like, have I not been washing it thoroughly?
So I actually rinse my water bottle every day, but with just plain water. And I wash my water bottle with soap and water roughly once every 3 weeks to once a month. I was expecting some levels of bacteria in my water bottle, but I was shocked to find out that there was mold detected on my water bottle as well.
I clean my bottle once a week, usually just rinse it. But once every 2 weeks, I would add soap to the bottle.
Your water bottle has among the highest levels of bacteria and mold.
Oh, actually, I'm not that surprised because I don't clean my water bottle regularly.
I wash my water bottle once a week and not daily because I store mainly plain water, so I don't think it's necessary to wash every day.
Your water bottle has the highest levels of bacteria and mold among all the bottles that we tested.
I did not expect my bottle to have the highest amount of bacteria and mold because I only drink plain water from it.
Turns out simply rinsing daily may still lead to elevated levels of bacteria and mold in your water bottle. But the ones that had the highest scores among all the bottles we tested were rinsed with water just once a week. So how often should we be cleaning our bottles? Water quality expert Kwok Chenko is going to show me.
So how is it our reusable bottles become this hotbed for bacteria and mold?
Well, when we consume food, we have food particles in our mouth. And once we bring this water bottle to our mouth to drink, the food particles actually get transferred into the water bottle. And some of them can get stuck within the water bottle too. These food particles actually serve as food for bacteria and mold.
Right.
And this bacteria and mold will start growing within the water bottle.
So even for those bottles that were washed daily, there was still bacteria and mold in them. Why is that the case?
Well, I would say that daily washing is still not good enough because it depends on how well you wash it. And I would recommend thorough washing.
And what do you mean by thorough?
Thorough involves at least using a brush with detergent. Shall I show you how we do it?
Yeah, sure.
Over here, we have some different water bottles, as well as brushes, plus detergent. So let me show you how we do a thorough washing.
Okay.
Let's take this water bottle, for example. Which part do you think will be the dirtiest?
Well, I'm sure inside the cap, like around the rim.
Yeah, right. I would pay special attention to this portion here, as well as within the cap itself. So what I'll do is I'll brush this part really, really hard. I will do the same for the cap as well. Now, for the inside of this water bottle, I'll do a hard scrubbing.
A bunch of our respondents said they don't wash it every day because it's just plain water, so it should be fine.
We are eating every day, and our food stuff remains in our mouth. They get transferred to the water bottle, and over time, the food stuff can actually get accumulated in all these recesses here.
Okay.
And this part as well. So over time, bacteria and mold will still grow in there.
Even if it's just water?
Yes, even if it's just water. This one has a straw. I would say that it's definitely a lot harder to clean.
Okay.
You would need a wire brush like this.
Okay.
Going all the way, and I believe for this case, there is this part that can be removed. You have to remove them and clean them separately. This one, I personally wouldn't recommend a narrow mouth because it's harder for this brush to go in here. Well, so for this case, I still try to force it in, and likewise, you have to do a thorough job. Now look at this bottle here. It has this spot right at the top.
Okay.
And this is the part where your mouth comes into contact with. That is why food will get stuck here. And when you close this cap, the food will get transferred to the top portion as well. So when you're washing it, you really have to pay special attention to these two parts. And similarly, make sure that you're cleaning the inside of the spout as well.
So does it actually make any difference what kind of drink I put in the bottle?
It certainly does. If you are putting sugary drinks inside, tea, coffee, syrups, then I would say the challenge is much greater. The reason is there are sugars as well as some of the drinks may have fats inside. They tend to get stuck more easily inside, and of course that presents a lot more foodstuff for bacteria and mold to grow. And for those cases, I strongly suggest that you do a thorough cleaning every day. Over time, this bacteria and mold will form biofilms, and this biofilm has a tendency to actually impart an unpleasant taste and smell to your drink.
And what exactly is biofilm?
It's basically a layer made out of microbes, which includes bacteria, fungi, mold.
A biofilm of bacteria and mold can form inside my reusable water bottle if I don't scrub it. I'm about to see what this looks like.
Oh, wow. Whew. That smells pretty bad.
And what is all that bacteria and mold doing to our bodies?
So these are the ones that I'll be extra concerned about.
This is a dupe of Jacquemus Heineken. I got this for $5.
Dupes, budget-friendly alternatives of the higher-end originals. I'm keen to meet these people who look out for these buckets. Upon first whiff, you can't tell the difference.
It was the closest thing I found to McDonald's nugget.
How much do these dupe shoppers really save? Series finale of Bargain Hunters. Tonight on CNA.
From here, possibilities are everywhere. From taking first steps here, to beginning your own wealth journey here. From backing global trade ambitions here, to delivering on that promise here. That's why we're here, in the world's most dynamic markets. A bank that connects potential to possibilities. So, where will you go from here?
More people in Thailand are not having children, and the population is aging.
There are very few countries that have aged and are still developing countries, and one is Thailand.
Will the rising cost of living cause further decline?
If we continue the path that we have projected, our population will decrease by half.
Thailand, growing old before growing rich. Insight, Thursday on CNA.
When men disappeared, it was an awful thing to happen, and a lot of people suffered.
It's
a poison that is never used in the manufacture of medicines. हम दलित परिवार के हैं ना, तब यह अत्याचार हमारे साथ हो रहा है। pasti kupu-kupu ini akan hilang suatu saat.
Out of the 10 bottles that we sent to the lab, the one with the highest bacteria count, which was used to just drink water from, was rinsed only once a week and never scrubbed with soap. This bottle was stored in the fridge and never drunk from, yet it had the highest mold count. Because while bacteria comes from food, mold simply thrives in moist environments. And this bottle was rarely washed. This is Professor Anderson Wong. He spent the past 1 week growing something for me. This is what we can expect to see in our bottles if we allow the bacteria and mold to build up.
So what we have is a biofilm. This is the kind of material that you will see microbes living and thriving like a city. They form a layer that protects the microorganism against antimicrobial agents. It's sort of a shelter for the microbe to thrive and grow freely.
Oh, wow. Whew. That smells pretty bad. Are we having these in our water bottles?
Most of the time, we won't be able to see it with our naked eye.
Okay.
But if you let it grow and accumulates in layers, then it may grow to this thickness.
So in most cases, you're saying we won't even know it's in our water bottle?
It's largely invisible, but you can feel it. It feels a bit sticky and gluey. However, here I've prepared one sample to see. This is stained with a purple dye. You can see that it's more obvious, giving it a very deep purple coloration.
Also, all this is actually that biofilm that is growing on the inside.
That's right. Biofilm are largely invisible.
So it could actually look like this, but be this.
Yep.
I sent a whole bunch of water bottles to a lab for testing. They told me all of them had bacteria, and 6 out of 10 of them had bacteria and mold. So help me understand, because the list is long and it looks scary.
I think that most of them are harmless, naturally exist in the environment, and are present in very low relative numbers.
Okay.
The ones that I'll pay extra attention to is Pseudomonas and cyanobacteria. So these are the ones that I'll be extra concerned about. Cyanobacteria actually produces a toxin called cyanotoxin, and then when they are ingested, they actually can lead to abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea. And Pseudomonas is commonly found in the environment, but the fact that they are found in the water sample goes to show that they actually may be transferred from the environment to the water sample. And they are also well known to grow biofilm, which gives them a certain form of virulence against the human beings. So you know our gastrointestinal tract and our oral cavity, they're actually connected at some point.
Correct.
So there's a risk that the Pseudomonas can get into the lungs through this way. It's able to cause a respiratory tract infection if it gets into the lung.
Oh, okay. And if I look at it, if I draw a line across these numbers, is this considered quite a high number? I mean, should we be worried about these numbers?
At present, I would think that certainly the bottle 2 and bottle 8, they are much higher in number relative to the other bottles, and that is to be concerned with.
Bottle 2 belongs to tick 1, and bottle 8, Jethro. They had elevated levels of Pseudomonas, a bacteria that can cause respiratory tract infections. These bottles were rinsed with water only once a week. The bottle which had traces of cyanobacteria belonged to tick 1's daughter. The bottle was washed with soap and water, but only 2 to 3 times a week.
I will try to use more soap and wash it more frequently because I am afraid of the long-term health effects.
I would like to give myself the aim to wash my water bottle once every 2 days and also wash the bottle with soap once a week instead of what I'm doing currently, where I give my water bottle a quick rinse and wash my bottle with soap once every 2 weeks or so.
When it comes to water bottles, we have so many to choose from. You've got these guys, they're made of plastic, they're lightweight and affordable, and a popular choice. There are also these other durable stainless steel ones. Now they are usually insulated, helping keep your water cold for hours. Less popular, on the other hand, are these guys which are made of glass. They often come with a bit of a protective sleeve. But I'm wondering if the material of my water bottle can affect the amount of bacteria it can accumulate.
Frost here in Lim has been running a test for us over the past couple of days. And I'm heading to a lab to find out what she's discovered.
We have here 4 different bottles made of 4 different materials that you will typically find in water bottles. So the first one here is made of polycarbonate, and this one here is made of polypropylene, and here we have one made from steel, and this one here made of glass.
Right, okay.
Translucent or opaque, polypropylene is a cheaper and more flexible type of plastic compared to polycarbonate, which is stronger and more transparent.
So what we did first day is we fill it up with about 200 milliliters of a medium called LB. And LB is a very nutritious media that allows any bacteria or mold or anything, microbes to grow. And the next day we remove the microbe and the medium and then swipe the inside of the wall of the bottles.
And what did you actually find?
So here what we saw is a lot of bacteria are left and then have been growing in the petri dish.
Wow, all those little dots there.
Yes, each of the little dot is one colony of bacteria. So what we discovered is that glass has the least number of colony forming units, followed by polypropylene, stainless steel, and then polycarbonate has the most number of bacteria.
Actually, I'm quite surprised. I mean, for instance, I thought stainless steel would have less bacteria.
So bacteria like to grow in a certain type of surfaces. And a few factors that affect the bacteria growth on surfaces are wettability. So wettability is the surface property that is water liking. So then when you put a drop of water on top, it spreads. And so bacteria likes to be on that kind of surfaces. There are also textured surface. Bacteria likes to hide in the crevices of the surface. Porous materials typically would also be a house for the bacteria to grow.
So these two are both plastic, but why are the results so different?
Because they're different kind of plastic, they're made of different materials, and different materials have different properties. For example, polypropylene has lower wettability compared to polycarbonate, which means that polypropylene will repel more water, while polycarbonate will attract water. Then if we look at other types of materials, for example, glass, glass has less texture, and it also is less porous, so then it's typically less prone to bacteria growing on it. Steel is typically not the kind of material that bacteria like to grow on. However, there may be other dominating factors that result in the final property of the materials that makes up these bottles.
So you're saying that at the end of the day, it's not just the material of the bottle, but I guess all these other factors like the cap here could have contributed to the bacteria count and therefore this final result.
That's correct, and if we really want to know more, we need to do more experiments.
So I've learned that no matter what kind of reusable water bottle you might have, the only way to really rid it of bacteria and mold is by giving it a good clean. That means a thorough scrubbing using detergent. Just rinsing it alone is not good enough. Or you can also use one of these brushes. This one helps you dig into the rim to give it a good clean over there.
Alternatively, you can also try popping in one of these cleaning tablets once a month to give your bottle a deep clean.
It's indulgent, and it could also be healthy, all because of this star ingredient.
There's benefits in cocoa, lowering blood pressure, reducing inflammation.
But is there a dark side to chocolate?
I read all dark chocolate have some heavy metals in them. Is chocolate really good for you?
Talking Point, Sunday on CNA.
Chinese President Xi Jinping heads to the European Union for the first time in 5 years. His goal, get foreign investment into the world's second largest economy. But observers say the visit may lay bare the bloc's divisions over trade with Beijing and how the continent positions itself between the U.S. and China. Watch Asia First at these timings.
CNA 938, the station you trust for news, current affairs, your work and money, trends, and all you may have missed through your business. Listen anytime, anywhere. CNA 938. The CNA 938 quiz is back. We have a total of $8,000 worth of grab vouchers to be won. Simply tune in to CNA 938 for the question of the day and listen out for the cue to call. Join the CNA 938 quiz now.
I wish to congratulate CNA on reaching your important 25th anniversary milestone. You have proven to be one of the most credible, reliable,
and highly visible media channels in Southeast Asia, particularly in bringing the ASEAN stories to the global audiences. I wish CNA every success in continuing to deliver impactful news and information across the region and the world. Happy 25th anniversary.
This is Asia Now.
It is 6 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 3:30 in New Delhi and 5 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Jill Newbronner. At this hour, negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza making good progress. Mediator Egypt says there are now more points of agreement between Israel and Hamas. Indian police arrest the social media chief of the main opposition party over accusations that he doctored a widely shared video amid an ongoing national election. And April has been a month of weather extremes for Asia. Countries in the region reporting high temperatures and heavy downpours that shatter historical records. Negotiations between Israel and Hamas for a ceasefire in Gaza are reportedly making significant progress. Sources linked to Egyptian intelligence services say mediators have reached an agreement on most points of contention. Talks are underway in Cairo with a Hamas delegation just arriving. Israeli media also reporting positive signs. The Times of Israel says Hamas could announce its approval of the truce deal in the next few hours. Now, the report also saying Hamas will agree to the first phase of a ceasefire without Israel pulling out its troops from Gaza. Another Israeli source claims that the US has guaranteed that Israel will withdraw all its forces from the enclave after the third phase of the truce is completed. Arguments on what the IDF would do in Gaza after a ceasefire have been a major reason why months of negotiations have not yet yielded an agreement. Now, Tel Aviv has repeatedly rejected removing its forces from Gaza, vowing instead to completely destroy Hamas. The current ceasefire deal has 3 phases. The first is a pause in hostilities for 40 days. Hamas would release female civilian hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. More aid will be brought into Gaza, and displaced Palestinians will be allowed to return to their homes in the northern part of the Strip. The second phase would see Israel and Hamas finalize arrangements for a permanent ceasefire and the release of all remaining captives. The third and final phase would see the start of a Gaza reconstruction plan. Pro-Palestinian protests that have swept across U.S. campuses for weeks have waned in some colleges after a crackdown on the demonstrations. More than 2,100 people have been arrested since the 18th of April. And that's the day after the first encampment was set up at New York's Columbia University. Universities in the U.S. are now bracing themselves for disruptions with looming year-end exams and commencements. 4 schools have graduation events scheduled this weekend. Many others have ceremonies lined up throughout this month and the next. The schools say they are working to enhance security, while protesters consider staging walkouts and other possible actions. Meanwhile, similar student-led demonstrations have taken root in cities around the world, including Berlin and Paris.
Il y a quelques années, on n'aurait jamais envoyé la police au sein d'une université pour une occupation. C'est aussi un choix des étudiants d'occuper aussi pour faire entendre notre voix. Aujourd'hui, on est en période de partiel, on est quand même là, on est mobilisés, donc je pense qu'il y a une volonté de notre part aussi de prendre sur notre temps personnel pour s'engager et pour soutenir notre cause.
Well, Indian authorities have arrested the social media chief of the country's main opposition party. Arun Reddy of the Congress Party is accused of doctoring